Football is back, and so are we. This is season 2 of Why is Draymond Green Talking About Football with me, Jordan Schultz, presented by Fanatics Sportsbook. Dre, what do you think about season 2?
Man, I'm excited for season 2. You know, it's so much going on in the NFL right now. Football hasn't even really started. Obviously, preseason football, but it's so much going on that may affect week 1 of football. So I'm excited as hell. I think we're going to have some great guests on this season. Get to do what we do, but season 2 going to be a fucking blast.
Well, we're going to be breaking down the games, the biggest games every Thursday, making our picks, obviously having lots of unfiltered takes. But here's my biggest thing with you, Dre, is I want to dive right into it. And specifically, I want to talk about one Micah Parsons and the fact that this man does not have a contract. I was hoping you could give me the player perspective and help fill me in as to making it make sense. He's 26 years old. It's his second contract. This is not an aging veteran. This is a guy who is at the peak of his powers at the second, maybe third most important position in all of sports, or certainly in the NFL. Why does Micah Parsons not have a new deal yet?
It's unbelievable, but why does Micah Parsons not have a new deal? It's very simple. He's a Dallas Cowboy, and Jerry Jones does this with all of his star players. He disgruntles his star players for some reason, and then expect them to go win Super Bowls for him, and I just don't quite understand that. Everyone wants to feel a bit of appreciation, Jerry, and although, yes, you're going to pay him a bunch of money, that's not enough. You think if a player go win a championship in basketball, a Super Bowl in football, is that enough for the organization? Or no, you still want them in the community, right? You still want them abiding by the law. You don't want them all of the things representing your organization well, regardless of, despite them winning the Super Bowl. And so everyone wants the same thing from Jerry. If we want, as players, we want to feel wanted. You want to feel good. You want to get stuff done. You don't want to have that stress. I saw Micah Parsons about a month ago, right before camp at my great friend Taylor Rook's wedding. He seemed calm, and I spoke to him about it a bit. But what I found interesting is he said right then, y'all want to be a Dallas Cowboy. I grew up a Dallas Cowboy fan because I was talking to him as a Steelers fan, saying, "Yo, you don't want to be a Steeler." And he like, "Man, I grew up in Pennsylvania, but I just didn't grow up a Steelers fan. I actually grew up a Cowboys fan. I want to be a Cowboy." And then a week later, to see him come out and say, "I don't want to be in Dallas anymore. I've done all I want to do. Trade me out of here." It just goes to show that every year, Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, Micah Parsons, every year the Dallas Cowboys will be in this position. It's unfortunate because it's Jerry trying to get attention.
Yeah, well, he even said that. He said that, basically all publicity is good publicity, and he obviously has a new big doc coming out on Netflix. I wonder how much this plays into that. But walk me through a situation where, let's say you're Joe Lacob, and let's say you're Draymond, right? And the Warriors don't want to pay Clay. They don't want to pay Steph. It seems like everyone understands the value that Micah Parsons brings to the Cowboys except Jerry. What does that do? Does that splinter a locker room?
Well, Jerry thinks all the value about that's been brought to the Dallas Cowboys is from Jerry. I happen to play for a great ownership group, not a bad one, like the Cowboys are under. And I've been through a situation like that of where I was going through a contract year, then going through pretty much free agency, if you will. And every single day, all year, there was communication about, hey, we're going to get this taken care of. We want you to be here. When the season ended and it was time for us to start having conversations about a new deal, I met with Joe Lacob first, one-on-one at his home. He had me at his home. I met with him. Difference between Joe and Jerry, Joe didn't try to negotiate a contract with me behind my agent's back. Joe had a great meeting. I learned so much about him. He learned so much about me. We had a fucking fantastic meeting. I walked out of there saying, I don't know if we're going to get a deal done, because there's financial constraints on the team. There's all these things. But I feel good that we're going to get a deal done. And if we're not able to get a deal done, I feel good on the terms that it'll end on. That was the conversation. That's how a great ownership group goes about it. And then, as I'm going through free agency, every day, multiple times a day, I'm talking to Mike Dunleavy, talking to Kirk Lake, I'm talking to Joe Lake. Hey, man, we're trying to do this. Give us a second. Give us another day. We're trying to move this money. We're trying to do that. That's how the communication works. And my agent was involved in that. Once the number started, my agent was involved. Rich Paul was involved in those conversations. So it's bad when you leave your star players in a position like Jerry's doing right now. It fucks up the locker room. It disgruntles the player. Things that he's supposed to be doing, he's not doing. Then once he gets his contract, you expect him to jump back in the fold, and you expect all the other players to just receive him and his leadership back. And everybody doesn't work like that. And so I think he's fucking his team up as he always does. And, who's surprised?
Actually, it's a great answer, by the way, about how a good owner operates and how an owner who, I don't even know what to call Jerry. He's so dysfunctional. That organization is so dysfunctional. But another situation that I've obviously been monitoring and reporting on is Terry McLaurin and the Commanders. Now, it's a little bit different because this is a third contract, but it's similar in terms of the value that Terry brings to the organization and the team. I think this is puzzling to me in the sense that I thought this would be rather straightforward in terms of all-pro receiver, great young quarterback, obviously coming off an NFC championship game. The Commanders seemed to overachieve last year, and now they're in a pretty nasty contract dispute between star wide receiver and team. So if you were Washington, and I know you're a Steelers fan, but if you were the Commanders, would you not feel comfortable paying Terry, or am I just reading this poorly as an NFL fan first?
I mean, in watching Terry produce, I would feel comfortable with the production that he's shown on the field up through last year. On the flip side, you look at the numbers, and he is an agent wide receiver. He's 29 going on 30, if I'm not mistaken. And when you look at the greats and what happened with their numbers once they got to the point of their career where Terry's in, the numbers don't back it up. Now, in saying that, I think Terry's incredible. I think the numbers won't drop off because of how strong he was last year. But I'll tell you what I think is happening. What I think is happening is it's not about the numbers. And unlike those other wide receivers, Antonio Brown and all the other guys, that AJ Green that fell off at that point, unlike those guys, I think Terry will continue to produce. I think what's happening to Terry right now is you're with a new ownership. You're not necessarily their guy, right? Like this new group coming in.
Jaden's the one guy that transcends this franchise. He's
Absolutely.
The meal ticket.
Exactly. So Terry, you're not necessarily their guy, and you're getting older. I think they're setting the table of how they're going to negotiate in the future. And I think they're using this as an example, as a guy who Asian, not really the end of the world where whether we piss them off or not, but it is important that we set the table. It is important that we show who we are, how we're going to go about our business moving forward as an entire organization and new ownership group. And I think that's what he's up against. I think he's up against the business of football more so than the business of his production, if you will. And so I think he will get handled. I think the contract situation will get taken care of because ultimately, like you just said, their meal ticket is Jaden Daniels, as it should be. You can't have him going into year two losing his star receiver. That's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah. So here's what I'll push back. And obviously, full disclosure, I obviously broke the news that Terry requested a trade. And so, I'm going to tell you what the Washington fans who want Terry paid are probably thinking. They're saying he hasn't missed a game in 4+ seasons. He's coming off his best year. And he is 29, but he's a younger 29 because He didn't play his first 2 years at Ohio State, and he's only 7 years into the NFL. Now, the Commanders are saying once receivers turn 30, they fall off a cliff. We're willing to pay you, but not the number you want, and we have the leverage. Now, I actually believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that Washington has less leverage than they think, because I don't think this offense, as good as Jaden is going to get anywhere near where it needs to be without Terry McLaurin on the field. You know, he's the one guy, and he's been the one constant over the last decade. Obviously, you mentioned new ownership group. He wants to get paid like a number one wide receiver. Right now, there are 7 wide receivers paid $30+ million. That number is going to double, triple in the coming years because of the cap going up. So it's a really tough situation because both sides are obviously dug in. But I'll tell you what, Washington does not want to be in the position of where the Giants were after Saquon. New GM coming off of a playoff win, and obviously it unfolded pretty badly for the Giants. And hopefully they can turn it around and maybe they hit gold with Jackson Dart. But the point being is that Adam Peters has a lot of momentum, the GM of the Commanders right now. And obviously your guy, Bob Myers, a lot of momentum, positive. Why not capitalize on that right now, get this deal done and move forward?
Well, I think you can still get the deal done, and I don't think anyone's unhappy. T. Higgins is unhappy as he was in Cincinnati. He got the contract done and was happy as hell. You know, so
money talks.
Everybody's a little disgruntled when you're going through it. After the fact, I don't think you're as disgruntled. I think Terry will be fine. I think he'll get his money. I don't know that he gets the 30+. I see him get, you know, and when I say the big 30+, I'm the Justin Jefferson, the Jamar Chase. But I do see him being in the same area as IU, you know, right beneath that number. That's kind of more the ballpark I think he's in anyway. I think Terry's a great player. I don't think he's Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson. And so I think that's a good, you know, T. Higgins, Brandon Ayuk. I think Terry should look to fall right in there, and maybe that's the goal. I do think it'll get done, and I don't see a Saquon situation playing out here. I also think they feel very strongly that Debo's going to come in and be great. And so you feel the safety with, a safety net. You have a safety net with Debo Samuel having that veteran presence for Jaden Daniels if they're not able to get Terry back on the field before week 1.
Does it affect a locker room when a guy who's obviously really well-liked, beloved even in Terry's case, is not getting paid and everyone sees, oh, he's not practicing? Does that affect the locker room?
I'd imagine it would, because the reality is if a locker room, especially in the NFL, is just like America. Some people going to see it your way. 50% of the people going to see it your way and say he should get paid and he should sit out of practice if he's not getting paid. There's another 50% that's sitting over there like, man, he got a deal already. He got 1 year left. He should be out here in training camp just like we're in training camp, fucking busting his ass just like we're busting our ass. There's a group that falls in that category as well. And so half of them going to be fine. Half of them going to be whispering and saying stuff in the media. And that's just the nature of the beast.
Okay, so we have a big opportunity this year with Fanatics. And last year, I think you ended up winning.
Of course I won. You tried to fucking cheat me.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that I owe you a substantial wine allotment.
Yes, you do.
Well,
I was never going to say until we got back here, so the world could know.
Now that I think about it, yeah, I feel badly, but I will. You know, I'll pay that. I'll pay that debt. Looking at the Fanatics odds,
you can afford it.
I can afford it. Yeah, it's more of the principle. The Cowboys. I'm looking at this line right now. This is on Fanatics. The Cowboys Super Bowl line has been all over the place since Micah's news. Currently plus 5,000, and they're plus 550 to win the NFC East. We're going to have, one thing we're going to do this year, we're not going to pick every game every week. I think we're going to do 3 or 4. But I do want to have a season-long wager to establish some back and forth shit-talking. And we're going to be using the Fanatics bets. We're going to essentially pick futures as well. For example, Dallas Cowboys win the Super Bowl, Pittsburgh Steelers miss the playoffs, all things that you'd be thinking about.
Look at you, you fucking hater.
Yeah.
What's the Seahawks going to do?
The Seahawks, I'm really interested to see how they do with Sam Darnold, because I think Geno's going to quietly, maybe not so quietly, have a really good year with Pete Carroll in Vegas. Who's your offensive rookie of the year? Speaking of Vegas, is it Aston Gentry? Is it, because my sleeper, if you will, is Micah Egbuka, who's had a great camp with the Bucs. That's my sleeper rookie of the year offensive.
He's definitely a sleeper. I think it's hard to go against a running back who's going to get a lot of touches. And Pete Carroll will always regret not handing the ball off to Marshawn Lynch. Mm-hmm. He will hand the ball off to Ashton Gentry a lot. And I just think it's going to be hard to compete with that. I think, he will have a great year. And I see him being offensive rookie of the year, no question.
So Gentry's one.
I love the Egbuka.
I'm looking at Egbuka's a
he
monster.
Is different. He is different. He is. Yes, he is.
Yeah, so, he's really special.
I do love that pick.
You know who I'm really in on? I'm really high on Omarion Hampton with the Chargers too. Not just because I love him, but opportunity. So if Najee Harris
Johnson just went down.
Yeah, who went down?
Quentin Johnson.
Quentin Johnson went down.
I don't know how long he's going to be down.
But if Najee ends up starting on NFI, then that's going to give even more opportunities for Hampton. I know they really obviously like him. He was a high pick. But these types of running backs that can do 3 downs, Gentry's the same way. And someone said to me that a Greg Roman running back has never finished, I think it was top 10 or top 15 in fantasy. But if you think about the offenses he had Colin Kaepernick, he had Lamar Jackson. He's had these really mobile quarterbacks. Herbert is obviously mobile, but he's not that. I really like Omarion Hampton. So these are the types of bets we're gonna be getting in on. Travion Henderson's the other one who's had an awesome camp with the Patriots.
Yes, he has. Well, the reason I brought up to Quentin Johnson being out, Mike Williams just retired. I think that's going to hinder their offense dramatically.
They brought in Keenan Allen though.
True, but he old as hell. And so I just think
old,
that's
he's still good.
He didn't look that great in Chicago. He started to look a little older in Chicago. He can stay the offense, he can stay the quarterback. I can believe all of those things. I just don't, I don't think their passing game is going to be as good as it would have been, should have been, in order for Omarion Hampton to capitalize on it. So I don't foresee that, but I think it is powerful to be a 3-down back, but then also this is the NFL. It's a reason the backs go out.
That's true. Gentry's the favorite, plus 250. Hampton's plus 900. Egbuka plus 2,500. Henderson's been awesome, like we said. Rookie out of Ohio State. He's plus 1,600.
Yes.
What would it take you to bet Shedeur Sanders at plus 2,000? Because obviously Flacco's starting, but at some point we are going to assume that Shedeur is going to play.
Who knows when that's going to be? Unfortunately, Shedeur is with the Cleveland Browns, and I think Shedeur is going to be a very good quarterback. I'm not betting my money. I'm not betting my money on the Cleveland Browns making the right decision. No chance. I can't bet my money based on those guys' decision making.
Yeah, I think one wager I do want to make now is I'm looking at the lines, division winners. So Pittsburgh's plus 500 to win the AFC North, Baltimore, and then Cincinnati, and Pittsburgh. You know who I think Atlanta plus 225. Michael Penix Jr. explosion year. If you give me 2-1 odds, or I'll give you 2-1 odds. Or 3-1 even, on Atlanta and Pittsburgh, that could be a really fun bet. And obviously, if neither one wins or if both win the division, it's moot. But if one of them wins, we could have some fun with that. Triple up on the line. What do you think about that? I'm taking the Falcons to win the NFC South. You're taking the Steelers to win the AFC North. What do you think?
I'll take that bet. We got to deal with the Bengals, I think, after having a shitty year. Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase is coming back with a vengeance. But I'll definitely take that bet.
Okay.
For sure. But
That's a good one.
that can't stop you from paying your bet from last year, just roll it on. You got to pay your bet and then bet
I know.
again.
It's
It's
embarrassing.
ridiculous.
It's
You need a
embarrassing.
wine guy? You want me to send you my wine guy?
It's embarrassing.
This is
It's
crazy.
embarrassing.
This man wants to roll a bet a whole nother football
I know.
season.
It's so bad.
Can I not be paid and then we redo the bet?
Okay, so here's what we need to do. I'm gonna send you the wine, which I don't even know how much it is, but you've definitely accrued some interest. I'll send you the wine. You take a picture of it, and everyone can see that I paid, and then we'll re-up. But the point is it's what I've done is I'm in the wrong. I admit it. I'll fix it. Because I actually had won the season long. We did some kind of double up in the playoffs. That was the problem.
But let's do this bet. Let's make the bet.
But we gotta have
Steelers for certain. Yeah, we'll have plenty of bets. But Steelers for certain.
Okay.
No question. And by the way, Atlanta's in such a shitty division, and they still
I actually
won't
like Carolina a lot too. I think Carolina's a big sleeper.
win. Yeah, you enjoy that sleeper. No,
I'm telling you, Bryce Young, man. By the way, one more guy. I'm gonna leave you with this. You know who's had a sensational rookie camp is Teterola McMillan, another big time wide receiver. He looks the part.
I thought about picking him as my sleeper. The only reason I didn't is because I don't trust Bryce Young yet.
Oh, I do.
And I don't trust them with Bryce Young. They benched Bryce Young after 3 games last year.
Second half of the year though, he was really good.
He was pretty good. He was better than he was before.
Mm. All right,
He was better than he was before. He was not really good.
He was good.
Joe Burrow was really fucking good. He was better than he was before.
Yeah.
So,
all right, Dre, that's it for the teaser. We're just getting started. Season 2. Why is Draymond Green talking about football with Jordan Schultz? We are going to kick off Thursday, September 4th, right before the NFL opener. That's the Brazil game. We're talking, the Brazil game's the Friday, but you get the point. We're talking Super Bowl, MVP, biggest surprises, hot takes, which Dre has plenty of. Don't miss it. Hit the subscribe button right here on YouTube. Follow us wherever you get your podcast, and obviously download the Fanatics Sportsbook app so you can ride with us all season long. Draymond, I'll leave you with this parting words. You do look in this, I don't know if it's just the camera setting, but you do look svelte. Because you're like me. You can go up and down. You look good, but it could just be the angle.
I appreciate it. No, I've kept myself held it together pretty good this offseason. So
I'm a fucking mess.
I'm a little bit away from being a little bit away. I'm 7 weeks out of camp. I'm in a perfect spot.
All right, brother.
So I appreciate that.
All right, Dre. See you, big dog.
All right, brother. I'll see you soon.